Can you feel that? The spooky season is fast approaching, and I've got my wall all ready to go. It's become sort of the official backdrop here at MPS Studios, and after all this time, we've never really got a chance to take a look at everything that's on it. So I thought it might be fun to take a tour of the Halloween wall. The first section that we're going to take a look at is some of my Jason collectibles. If you know me, you know that I'm a big fan of the Friday the 13th franchise. It might just be my favorite horror franchise, and I love collecting a lot of different Jason Voorhees things. It kind of started out when we were youngins. My friend Ryan and I would hang out in his room in the summertime and just watch a lot of the old VHS copies that we could find, because his parents used to own a video store, so we'd find all sorts of weird slasher VHS copies of things to watch, and it was fascinating. So the first item here is a pretty simple pack of playing cards, and then we've got a recent addition to the shelf, which is a printed 3D wood laser engraved Jason hockey mask. Then we've got another recent addition, which I'll be adding to my tree next season, is I Will Murder You with Christmas Wishes. So that's really nice. I like the addition of the hat and the cocoa. That really seals it there. Next up, we have a classic Jason, blister pack figure. I think it was a Kenner fig, a reaction figure. And you know how it all goes. That thing, the pack never stays on there. I didn't intend to take it out, but it just fell out. And the machete is gone. It did have a machete, but that is long gone. This is an older item. This was Jason on top of a camp counselor Jeep. And I don't really know what era. It must have been around the time that the films were actually coming out, because I think this is older. But it's a Matchbox Jeep Cherokee, and it's a really great piece. I don't know if they did any more horror icons for Matchbox, but I'm gonna have to find that out, because I really do. I think this is such a cool piece. Next up, we've got a Jason Scaler, which is one of those things that you're supposed to put on your cord, but I really don't have an interest in that, so I'm just going to keep it in the box so that I can display it neatly on my shelf. And then we have a Jason Pop Pocket keychain, because God forbid we don't have a pop for everything, with all sorts of different utilities too. Is this showing up? Let me hide my... There we go. And, of course, I'm sure you've seen in some other videos the signed Jason mask and lunchbox, which I will show in a separate image because it is up there. There's a few more items where that came from, including, the DVD box sets and some other pops that you can see behind me, but we'll go over some of that a little bit later. The next section is a very special section. It is a bunch of drawings that were given to me by my sister. And these drawings are all of different horror icons. We've got Freddy. We've got Michael here. And, it's really cool what she's able to do. I don't have a ability at all to draw, so I've always been really envious of her abilities. And She's been included in a lot of other projects here at MPS Studios too. You may have seen her art in the cover photo of the Cryptid Horror Anthology. If you checked that out, that was her design for all the creatures. She also did the art for the Freaky Film Club and a few other different designs as well. And as far as the rest of this section goes, there are a few more icons. We've got Chucky. I did show you earlier while I was talking, but we got Sam here. And then finally, last but not least, Jason Voorhees, which this drawing would eventually get used as the podcast logo for a show that Ryan and I did called Vamping About Voorhees. So now we'll move on to another section on the wall, which is something that I just really can't seem to get enough of, but I'm trying to slow down on, and that is Pops. My collection of horror Pops has really grown throughout the years. It started out with just a couple chase figs that I was interested in. That was the glow chase figs of Freddy and Jason, and I think there was a Michael glow chase fig as well. And then things started to grow as obviously they started to get a lot more properties with this company, and there became a lot more exclusives as well. The first one here that I'm going to show you is from last season, I believe. This is Danny with Binks, a Spirit Halloween exclusive, and of course it is from the movie Hocus Pocus. I heard rumors that they're working on Hocus Pocus 3, which is okay, I guess. You know, the second one was decent. I'll give it a decent. Some other highlights that I grabbed off the shelf include the Freddy with syringe fingers from, I believe, Dream Warriors. And they actually had to pull this from the shelf because people were offended by the heroin needles. But it's like all the other shit, like the fact that he's like a child murderer and all, you know, the other crap in the movies, that's fine. But do not put drugs on your hands and try to inject them into a person. Then we've got Ghostface, which I just pulled because it's going for a lot of money in the aftermarket, I think, because they don't really make this. I don't think this is. I don't think they're printing this anymore, or producing these. Because I mean, according to the official Funko app, it's pretty high in value. So I think it just might be one of those deals. I didn't do any official research on it, so feel free to flame me in the comments if I'm incorrect with that information. And then another one that I really enjoy is this like 8-bit looking Jason, which, you know, I just think it's neat. It's not the 8-bit Jason, but that is another thing, and I'm going to show you as a little bonus. I brought some other figures down off the shelf. They're not Pops, but some other horror figs that I really enjoy. First of all, they did a 8-bit Jason figure with it used to play the song too, but it does not play the song anymore, unfortunately. They also went ahead, they did the Freddy one, which I don't have, but then they did I think they did the Freddy one, but they also did the Atari Texas Chainsaw. I mean, come on, how awesome is that? And I mean, look at the back cover. That's so funny. If you haven't had a chance to check out that game, well, you're not missing much, but it's pretty wild that exists, that they made a Texas Chainsaw for Atari. Lastly is a Jason figure from one of my favorite Jason films, and that is Part 3, 3D. And they, of course, they did the lenticular cover to make it 3D, and classic Jason. This is the Jason that I picture in my head when someone says Jason Voorhees. This is the streamlined, sexy, mask-acquired Jason. He's a little clumsy, but not as slapsticky as Part 2 Jason. And that's just the tip of the iceberg with the figures, but we could spend way too much time talking about the figures, and we have to move on. So here is the last section of the wall. So the last section of my wall is a lot of DVDs, mostly Freaky Film Club DVDs. We've got Maximum Overdrive, Hellraiser, Phantasm, just to name a few. I really love this cover of Phantasm, by the way. That's pretty neat. That's really all it is. I mean, we've got Texas Chainsaw. We just did that recently. This is a 4K restoration version, but the 35th anniversary of Halloween is a pretty cool looking DVD. It's got the fold out cover with like some art in there. Halloween 3 DVD is awesome. That's a great cover. The cult hit Season of the Witch. If you haven't seen this film, do yourself a favor and check it out. Don't pretend, just pretend it's not a Halloween movie, and you'll have a great time. And other than that, we have some potential previews of maybe some things to come. For instance, this Child's Play DVD also came with a copy of The Howling. This copy of The Faculty, which Nicholas did a review on, also came with Phantoms, which Ben Affleck was the bomb in. And the list goes on and on and on. I think it'll probably continue to grow and have to move on to a different area. Perhaps I will create a Freaky Film Club shelf on its own, and I will display every past movie that we've done. And yeah, you know what? I decided. That's exactly what I'm going to do. As soon as I cut this thing, we're putting up another shelf. Well, that's it for the tour. I hope you enjoyed. Do you have any special displays or decor that you like to traditionally put out? Let me know in the comments below. That's all for now, friends. But the creepy content, it's on its way. Beware.